Hello and welcome to Friday night at the Young Norfolk Arts Virtual Festival. My name is Lewis Buxton. I'm going to be your host for this evening, and tonight we are celebrating the Young Norfolk Writing Competition Showcase. I'm so excited that you're all here. This is a strange experience. I can't actually even see who is out there who's interacting with this, so it's a bit like I am sending this. I feel like maybe like a naval officer at sea in the Second World War who is sending letters home and knowing that he's loved but not getting anything back. It's a peculiar experience, but I'm so excited about what I'm going to bring for you tonight. Tonight is first and foremost about presenting some of the best young writers that Norfolk has to offer. We have the winners of the Young Norfolk Writing Competition. You will hear all of them reading their work. We will do our best to celebrate them in exactly the way we would have had this been a festival that was in person. We have some of the best music from East Anglia's young musicians, and we have some writers like Shannon Clinton Copeland and Poppy Stevens who are breaking new ground in the region. If you'd like to get involved, then please do. You can follow Young Norfolk Arts on Twitter, on Instagram, and you can also follow the National Centre for Writing. Our other partner on this particular project on Twitter and Instagram, they're at Writers Centre and at YN_AF. So a few sort of like housekeeping rules, how this is going to work. We have the comment section open. Please show your love, show your gratitude, show how much you care about the incredible art that you're going to see here tonight. Let's keep it kind. Let's keep it responsible. We are going through a global pandemic. We don't need hecklers in the comments. Be good to people. Also, I am obviously broadcasting from my house. This is my living room. I'm really glad you're all here with me. But if there are any problems with internet, if the feed cuts out at any point, please bear with us. We will be back. It might just take us a couple of seconds to rejig the feed. Most of what you're going to see tonight is pre-recorded. Obviously, I am here live with you, and you are here live in your bedrooms, living rooms, wherever it is that you are still spending lockdown. And both on behalf of the National Centre for Writing and the Young Norfolk Arts, we send big love out to you. Incidentally as well, if you hear cars going past, if you hear like thumps from upstairs, that's my neighbours moving furniture, or it is a cat starting a fight on my in my front garden. So just bear with it. It's part of the live experience, the equivalent of a microphone breaking or someone spilling a drink. So yeah, the way it's going to work is we're going to have the evening in two halves. The whole thing should last about an hour. The first half, we're going to hear from some of the winners of the Young Norfolk Writing Competition. We're also going to hear from one of the best musicians working in Norfolk at the moment. Then we're going to have a break, so you can go and you can get yourself a drink, you can have a cup of tea. We'll just take 5 minutes to break this up a little bit. Then we're back for the second half, where we'll hear from more of the writers who have won the Young Norfolk Writing Competition. We'll see some contributions from the Norwich University of the Arts, and we'll hear from two astounding new poets on the scene, and we'll finish with a very exciting announcement about the 2019 Young Norfolk Laureates, and then we'll hear from some various different representatives of the writing scene in Norfolk. But to start with, I'm very excited to be introducing the National Centre for Writing's Youth Collective. These guys are called Lit from the Inside, and they will tell you all about who they are and what they do in this quick segment. So, Lit from the Inside, take it away.
Hi, my name is Amelia and I'm from Eton College. I love reading, especially Gothic fiction, and I like writing short stories. Judging audio entries was a new experience for me, but I loved listening to such bold, powerful and experimental entries. My tip for young writers would be, don't overthink it, just put pen to paper and see where it leads you. Thank you to everyone who entered the competition. In a time of isolation, it was wonderful to hear so many powerful voices from across Norfolk. Thank you.
I'm Alistair Winey from Norwich School, and I have been writing bits of novel and scraps of poetry for as long as I can remember. When I was given 40-odd entries to judge from people my age, it was both exciting and daunting. Choosing a short list of 3 was very hard, and I felt privileged to be given the honour of reading a little piece of people. I would congratulate everyone who entered, because really there are only 2 tips a writer can give people, which will help everyone who wants to be a writer: read and write. And it was humbling to see so many powerful pieces of literature from all of you. Thank you so much, and keep writing.
Hi, I'm Florence. I'm a poet and theatre enthusiast from Norwich. Today I'll be reading my poem An Impromptu Nonsensical, which was written to capture and preserve a whimsical mood. Do you ever just walk in the woods, and as you pause for a moment, it dawns upon you that this is perfect? And this is the air, this is the whimsical charm from which fairy tales are spun. It hangs arctic yet soft around your face, pure and still, frozen, and clambers up from deep inside you. The child within slips into your mind, lolls in the nonsensical glow of long dormant wonder, and grasps the reins as you hesitate. And just for a slight moment, this picture stiffens and sets, bleeds in vibrant inks into the wrinkled melodies of a fairy tale, locked, trapped in time. A rare, simple impression, a fossil of gleam and glimmer. And yet, in a few seconds, it is swept aside, that curious stillness ripped and ruptured by the nimble dance of time, and it is gone forever. Thank you for listening.
Hi, I'm Ella, and I live in the small village Swanton Morley in Norfolk. I am proud house captain and prefect at my school town close. I taught myself how to unicycle, and this competition has given me more confidence in my writing. This is my piece of creative writing, Giving. A belt, complete with a shiny buckle, sliced through the air towards my throbbing back. 20 lashes is what I received the night that my owner found out I was pregnant, each whip more unbearable than the last. Screaming in terror, I lashed out and caught him in the mouth. He staggered backwards, bringing his hand up to his stunned face. Gingerly, he touched his lip, coating his fingers with a thick sheen of blood. He stared at his hands in disbelief before rubbing them over his worn clothes, as if his own blood was an insult, a disgrace. Fury contorted his ruddy face into an inhuman grimace as he grabbed my hair, not caring to be gentle. All rationality had been long lost. After that, I was abandoned in a derelict outbuilding by myself, unfit to see anyone. The air was musty from years of unuse. Paint peeled off the stark white walls, now dirty with spiderwebs clinging to them, like an abstract painting by an unknown, unappreciated artist. Underneath the stars, I grimaced with pain. My belly was so large now that I could barely stand, so I lay restlessly on the damp earth. Suddenly, a jolt, a flare of pain. My baby was about to come into this world. Yet still, no one came to help me. My ears strained for some footsteps, a sound that usually echoed and lingered in my head, bringing snapshots of pain and terror bubbling up to the surface. I wasn't ready for this. I couldn't do this on my own. I was all alone, but filled with defiance, I got ready to give all I had. 10 minutes later, my breath was still coming in short gasps. Everywhere ached, a dull, monotonous ache that seeped into every part of my body. On the earth next to me lay a baby, my baby. Motionless she lay, eyes closed peacefully in a serene calmness. It couldn't be. I wasn't giving up quite yet. Gently I nudged her, touching her soft skin untouched by life and all the scars it gives you. My baby finally took her first breath just as I was ready to give up on her. She opened her starry eyes and looked around in wonder. Her body quivered delicately, her eyes blinked quickly as if everything might disappear if she closed them for too long. I was in this surreal dream. My baby, my beautiful foal was perfect. Our eyes met and all the pain I had endured for her didn't matter now, my gaze saying what I could not. That night I discovered a new meaning to the giving of life. My beautiful baby had given me new hope for a better world and a brighter future. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my story.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for the showcase event tonight. My name's Hannah Garrard, I'm the Learning and Participation Manager at the National Centre for Writing. How I wish we were in Dragon Hall together and I was addressing you in person, but alas, we're not. We're in my spare bedroom instead. So we'll have to do. And first of all, sorry about the lockdown here. I'm sure lots of you can empathise with that. Still trying to get on a waiting list for hairdressers. We'll see how we go. So I've got a huge number of thank yous to say before we move on. So the Young Norfolk Arts Trust, thank you for putting on this brilliant festival this weekend. And it's always wonderful putting this competition together with you as well. It's been just so great to work with you, particularly during these trying times. And thank you to the Norfolk County Council for getting the word out to all the teachers and all the schools and encouraging young people to enter the competition. Thank you to the Lit from the Inside young people who we've been working with over the year as part of the Literary Career Development Programme. You've helped judge all the huge number of entries that came in this year, and you've been absolutely superb in doing it fairly, creatively, getting an even spread of voices out there. You've just been fab. And thank you to the 222 young people who submitted something into this year's competition. There are 381 entries in total, the highest number yet over the 5 years that this competition's been running. We've learned so much about the state of the world from you guys, and you've just made it really, really incredible this year. So what have we learnt from you? Well, that young people in Norfolk are deep thinkers, critical thinkers, you're empathic, you're funny, you're highly talented, and you might even have the answer to some of the world's complicated problems. I really think you might do. And we've also learned that no worldwide pandemic is going to get in the way of your imaginations. Well done. It's really you guys who make this competition so special. And last but not least, a massive well done, congratulations to the highly commended and winning young people who submitted this year. You've really risen to the top. Congratulations, and enjoy the rest of the showcase and enjoy the rest of the Young Norfolk Arts Festival. Bye!
Hi, I'm Ryan Tarfowl, and me and my mate were nearly stabbed in a pub, which led me to write this. This is pocketed poetry. My poetry is hidden, protected, out of sight from the perverse and peevish people. My poetry is a paragon at the pinnacle of my persona. My poetry is a part of me, it follows me, I keep it in my pocket. As my poetry becomes pocketed. See now, my pocket poetry is powerful. They say the pen will best the sword, but I can do one better. I will jest you with my words, assault you with my sentences, for I could pick you and place you in a room with me and punch you to an inch of your life. However, my powerful pocket poetry will perturb you in quite a perfunctory way. For as I said, the plethora of my peevish options to best you is the prerogative that hides in my pocket. Now you should see what I've carried in my pocket. I'm telling you now, my words can pierce deeper than anything that I've pulled. Think about this. My words are more politically potent, have a great impact, are more controversial than the 8-inch that I've seen, that nicks as near as he walks. Imagine a scar to feel protected. How dark is it that we're taught to stab rather than speak, expected to slash rather than communicate? Put it down. Think how powerful you could be with that prerogative in your pocket. Embrace the poet inside of you to progress our society further than that sterile stainless steel ever could.
Hi there, my name is Jess Creedon and I'm a student from Norwich. I'm 18 years old and the title of my piece is Mother Tucking Children into Bed, and it's based on a Norman Rockwell painting, so please enjoy. He doesn't believe in God. God is for men without a paintbrush, with no sacred muse to worship from. He doesn't need a God to know the sanctity of worship. He draws his wife with the reverence of a disciple writing his gospel. She was made for this, he thinks, an apron wrapped so tightly around her middle that she had to remove one or more of her intestines to allow herself to breathe. Her hands delicately hover over her abdomen, surreptitiously showcasing the slight bump that defines her figure, her pride, her joy, her worth. She leans over her children, their children, in a way that reminds him of a white swan, magnificently bowing its long, feathered neck towards the water, eyes forever bound in its own. If he's her monarch, she's his swan, condemned to a life of swimming in her own reflection, her painting plastered over every copy of Literary Digest. She's his in the same way that Helen was Paris's. Her picture stains his canvas for eternity. She cannot escape it, run from it. She was his muse long before she slipped his golden band onto her slim finger, his muse long before the day he carried her over their threshold, promising to protect her from all harm. Love her, cherish her, forsake all else. He cannot help but draw her. She draws herself in his mind every night, dancing into his dreams and nightmares until he wakes, pen poised, brush readied, her figure slowly working into the frame. She's easier to love on paper, that perfectly poised mask never slipping, that feathered neck bowing to him always. They argue. She tells him he's in love with the girl in his painting, and maybe it's true, maybe there came a time where he spiralled out of love with her and slipped into love with Picture Irene, but does it really matter? Does it really? Because in his eyes, they're one, she and the canvas, entwined in each other. She tells him he's crazy, shakes the pillows that his children and clutches at her flat abdomen now, clawing at the parts which make her who she is, the parts which make her his. She begs him to take it back, to erase the lines drawn, but Hephaestus can't unsculpt what is already sculpted, and he cannot erase what the world has already seen. She is mother tucking children into bed now and forever, timelessly trapped in the fabricated, distorted reality which is his canvas, his mind, his heart. She leaves him eventually. It's to be expected, he thinks. Perhaps love fades in the same way that his watercolours do. Now he paints his happiness. He does not live it. He finds some girl from some school to love, has children to replace the pillows, but finds pillow children to be much nicer than real children. He doesn't paint her again, not on paper, but his dreams are rife with her silhouette, mocking him, daring him, never changing, never aging, forever his. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed.
Hello and welcome back. So we heard some amazing poems there from Florence, from Ryan, from Jess, from Ella, and messages from Emilio and Alistair about Lit from the Inside, and from the National Centre for Writing's Hannah Garrard, who I feel like quite needlessly apologised for her lockdown hair, which looked amazing. On the other hand, speaking of quite needed apologies, I've just been made aware that some inappropriate language was heard at the beginning of this podcast. I apologise. As the great theorist, philosopher, and teacher Albus Dumbledore said, words are, in my not so humble opinion, our most inexhaustible source of magic. However, words must be used carefully, and we must be sure not to get into the dark arts too early in the evening. So apologies from me on that. I was not aware the microphones were on, and I was just trying to hype myself up for a performance. Okay, so we are in a minute. We're almost halfway through the show, and in a minute we're going to take a break. But first, where you can again go and get a cup of tea, get a snack. Don't go and make like a full roast dinner because we will be back quite quickly. But before that, we are going to hear from an incredible musician, writer, and stalwart of the Norwich music scene, Jess Morgan. Jess's songs, her stories, her writing generally always make me think of the Nobel laureate Wisława Zaborska, who said that I prefer the absurdity of writing poems to the absurdity of not writing poems. That's what Jess's work seems like to me. It's both absurd, but also like crystal clear. And it makes me happy. It makes me joyful. I also think that Jess probably has the best tattoos in East Anglia. Maybe tied exactly with our tech supervisor for the night, Nathan. So without any further ado, what we're going to hear is we're going to hear from Jess Morgan, and then we're going to take a break. So Jess will play for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll take a break. So we will be back here on this stream at 6:35, so 18:35. So you have 5 to 10 minutes to go and do whatever you need to do. But we will be starting again at 8:35, at 6:35. There'll be nothing after Jess, not even me rambling. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your virtual hands together for Jess Morgan.
Great. I think everything works. I'm Jess Morgan. I'm just here to say a massive well done to everybody who put themselves forward and entered the competition. That's huge. Well done. And a massive congratulations and well done to the winners. I'm going to sing you a song now. This is one of mine, and it's called In Brooklyn. Somebody's not sleeping up in the big house creaking. Here comes a shuffle of the feet in through the open door. You can get about your dreaming if you think about the places that we've been in. Pick a book from the library with your eyes closed. Hide in the corners of the museums anytime that you want. All the roads would end at the park, braving the snow in a sleigh till the day grew dark. Thinking about back when we were living in Brooklyn. Pay a visit to the diner when it got a little grey, a little wild there. When we didn't need the F train or anyone. We take our blessings and decorate up the second floor. Keeping all the little patches for hours and tears that were spilled on the Brooklyn quilt. Packing the apartment up in the boxes and calling it way back when we were living in Brooklyn. We were handing out blankets and so many things we took for granted. We felt like speckles on the brownstones of the avenues. Yes, sometimes you get a lot more than you can hold on to. From the slope into the green hills, you show me your teeth from a paint peeling, carousel, bringing our children home in a New York taxi, telling your story. Now you could tell it back to me, beginning with Brooklyn, when we were living in Brooklyn. Yeah, we were living in Brooklyn.
Hello and welcome back to the Young Norfolk Writing Competition Showcase, hosted here by the National Centre for Writing and the Young Norfolk Arts Trust. My name is Lewis Buxton. I am a poet, performer and arts producer, and I'm your host for the evening. So in the first half, we heard from 4 of the winners of the Young Norfolk Arts Competition, the Young Norfolk Writing Competition. And we're going to hear more from them more of the winners in the second half. And we're going to hear more representatives from the National Centre for Writing's Lit from the Inside programme. And I am going to continue this sort of terrifying confidence trick of Zoom hosting. I'm going to reiterate again that we are doing this from my living room on my standard internet connection. So if at any point you do see that spinning beach ball of death, that means that the Zoom feed is being interrupted, then do bear with us. We will be back. I think one of the things that has struck me about all the pieces that we've heard so far, we have had sort of like reflections on like visual art and feminism. We've thought about like the accessibility of poetry and how poetry might be a physical thing. We've considered like the nonsensical nature of writing in itself, and we've like given a sort of prismatic view of how to look at that word giving. And so really what that says to me is how varied and exciting the voices that Norfolk has to offer are. The writer Rebecca Solnit says that a poem is as much a made thing as a chair, and sometimes more useful. Right now, I think the young people's poems, the young people's words and their writing is the most useful thing that we can look towards. They have the foresight, they have the patience, and they have the radical hope that is going to push the planet forward. And so I'm really excited for you to hear some more from them in the second half. Again, we're going to start off with some of the young people from Lit from the Inside. We're going to hear from some of those young people, and they're going to tell you all about how you can get involved. I'm going to reiterate, if you are interested, if you're a young person watching this, if you're a parent watching this, and you'd like to get involved, then find the National Centre for Writing and the Young Norfolk Arts on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and you can find out about all the different amazing programmes they do. But for now, I'm going to push it back to the young people for them to tell you all about it. Here are 2 more speakers from Lit from the Inside.
Hi, my name is Antonia and I'm from North Norfolk. I especially love reading and writing short stories and essays. I found helping to judge the Young Norfolk Writing Competition really rewarding. The level of entries was so high, which made our jobs even harder, but the range of styles and ideas made for a really interesting and fun read. Congratulations to all the winners, and thank you to everyone who entered, and I hope this competition inspires you to keep writing.
Hi, my name is Matthew, and I'm from Norwich School. I've been writing since I was 6, and have turned my focus from poetry to prose these past few years. I enjoyed reading all of your entries, especially the prose. As for my advice to budding authors, I suggest that you resist the urge to edit until you've finished writing the full piece, so that you don't get burnt out and bogged down by making slow progress lengthwise. Keeping this in mind has helped me greatly.
It's alleged that on its pedestal stands a gleaming brass bull operated by an evil tyrant's hands. An innocent, hollowed-out, life-sized bull. Yet no one mentions how pleasant the statue looks on its golden pedestal. The whole town looks so different, though, come nightfall, when life is finally breathed into the dreaded brazen bull. A fire is lit underneath, and the bull burns red with fury and torment. A man looks to his wife and son as he's thrown into the bull over the rent. Through the thoughtfully positioned pipes and whistles, the sounds of the screams are translated to mimic the sounds of a living bull. Some say now that it's only a story, a legend, and that I need not worry. But when I cry late at night, it's not for that man, and it's not for the son who lost his dad. It's for the story, for the tyrant, and for the inventor. It's for the conscience of the town who stood back and watched her be reduced to this bull, this brazen bull that is my body, brazenly feigning some kind of confidence and self-respect, but I am trapped and burning and screaming and bleeding and pleading, and the only sound that can escape is the sound of the "I'm sorry" that echoes in my head every time I apologize for not being good enough. I wriggle into a new position in a hopeless attempt to reduce the surface area of my skin on the brass. I'm sorry for skipping class, I'm sorry for not being able to breathe, and I'm sorry for not being able to tell you that I am not able to breathe. Please. You watch, but you don't see. The whole town is gathered around, and no one sees me. You see the bull. You hear, "I'm sorry." But if you listen carefully, really listen.
Hi, I'm Matilda from rural Norfolk, and I share a name with a Second World War British infantry tank. And my name means mighty in battle, but I'm a pacifist. This is my story, War. As I drift across the battlefield, just a breeze to the grass, the smell of gunpowder and cordite reaches my nostrils. I can hear men's faint whimpering over the sound of gunshots and rumbling tanks. Dark bags sag beneath their eyes, a sign of just how tremendous this war is. Despite the fear in their eyes, cloaked by their determined set of jaw, they keep firing their lethal weaponry. It is get killed by the enemy or be killed for cowardice. Only terror anchors them to this war-stricken place. I have seen many wars in my time. Nothing changes. There will always be people who believe that if we are from a different culture, a different heritage, if we have a different skin colour, then we are less. Wars break out everywhere. This war is like any other. People who are oblivious as to why they are fighting, artillery and wounds everywhere. I am death. I've walked the earth since the start of time. No one has survived me. When most people think of me, they picture the Grim Reaper, a male skeleton in a robe. Well, that's not how I really look. For starters, I'm female. Of course I'm female. I am where life begins and ends. I may have skeletal features, but the rest of me is definitely human. I feel pain. I feel hunger. I feel loss. This war is the war to end all wars. Literally. Mankind shall die out from this last battle. Even I will cease to exist. I feed off the energies of human deaths. To me, death is life. I am faced with a choice. Allow them to destroy themselves and secure my end, or intervene so that their souls survive for me to collect another day. How do you stop a war? It is easy. There must be a winner. Pick a side, make their bullets fly home, make them land every time. Make their fire hotter, their anger stronger, their devastation complete. Does it really matter which side? I choose one end of this scorched, desolate wasteland. They see me, but not for who I really am. To some, I am an angel, a vision. To others, I am their mother, come to take them home. I speak, but in a terrible voice. They hear me in the scream of missiles and in the flaying of skin, but they understand. This war must end. It works. Peace reigns. It reigns for months, but only months. The next threat to existence even I cannot avert. These fragile humans are too determined. In the end, it is always consumption, or conflict, or both. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Matilda. I'm 18, and I'm going to be reading a piece of writing that I've written called Satsuma. It was that sun-bleached afternoon, amongst the dust of late summer, as I watched you slowly peeling a ripe Satsuma, that I knew for sure. Pith, the colour of curdled buttermilk gathered under the half-moons of your fingernails, staining them a nicotine yellow as you slipped the fruit from its skin in one drunken, spiralling coil. You held it up to me, a bright orange helicoid, a faint smile curling up at your lips, the naked Satsuma cupped in your right hand, which lay lazily in your lap. The air between us smelt of citrus, sharp and sweet. Like Gaudi, I said, quietly willing you to remember the week before, where we had lingered together in the shade of that skeletal basilica, the silence infused with the smell of sun cream and the rush and pull of our breathing, out of time at first and then falling into place, or how you had stood beside me, below that lucid glass, so close I could have sworn I'd felt your bare skin erupt into goose flesh. You looked up at me, and I watched myself watching you in the dark of your sunglasses. Hazily, I imagined shrinking down to 2 inches tall and climbing up into your eye socket to sleep like Hina. My palms were slick with sweat. I pressed them flat against my skirt and prayed you hadn't noticed. It was long past lunchtime. People drunk from frosted pitchers under the soft seams of trees behind the house, or were dozing inside the cool, shuttered rooms. And here I sat, in quiet agony, watching you pick the pith off each segment of Satsuma and listen to you talk about the neighbour's son whose name the other girls savoured on their lips. What do you think of him? You asked, wiping away juice in the corners of your mouth. I shrugged. We both knew he had always liked you. When we went dancing or drinking at the beach, he would watch you in a soft, unguarded way, which I knew from experience meant only one thing. He's fine, I said, if you like that sort of thing. You laughed and leant back in your chair, stretching out your sandaled feet until they were an inch from my own. My breath snagged somewhere in my chest. He's an idiot, really, and I saw your eyes narrow like almonds. But he's really besotted with me. He keeps leaving me poems. I watched you push your dark hair from your forehead, and I wanted to speak, to say what I knew, the only thing I knew, and I wanted you to know it too, so desperately my lungs threatened to burst bird-like from my ribcage. But cowardice is too warm and comfortable a habit to betray. So I said nothing, simply plucked at my skirt, nursing the Satsuma-sized pain glowing just above my heart. Perhaps you noticed. You were quiet then, with your face turned to the late sun, eyes shut and hands steepled on the rusting arms of the chair. The air was thick and still. Perhaps you noticed. I didn't know what was better. Later you left, taking the last of the sun with you to drink calamoko in the half-dark of a bar and be orbited by beautiful admirers. It was an evening I couldn't face, so I smiled as you said goodbye, as you disappeared through the house, as I felt the rush of your skirts as you brushed past. I didn't watch you go. The dimpled orange peel and pithy tendrils lay on the table, baked hard in the August heat. My head reeled, and I imagined you turning and looking back at me one last time before I banished the thought from my head. Lights began to appear in the darkness. I sat for a while, watching them flicker on, a ravenous loneliness prowling about me like some soft animal. When I grew tired of the night, I retreated to my room to sleep in silence. I saw it as soon as I opened the door, and my stomach lurched as if I had plunged from a great height at the sight of it, alone in my shuttered room. There, pale on my pillow, a single peeled satsuma. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
This is my small round of applause for all of the winners of the Young Norfolk Writing Competition. You're all astounding. I feel hopeful and threatened at the same time, which is a pretty nice feeling for all the incredible talent that is coming up behind me. Okay, so moving right along. As we know, writing is a profoundly broad category. We have heard stories, poems, songs, all sorts of intersections in the great Venn diagram of arts. And now we have some visual arts to share with you. So, visual art, as we know, is the sort of cousin of writing, all springing from the strange family tree of art. And we now have a virtual exhibition from people of some students from the Norwich University of the Arts who have responded to some of the works that we have in some of the winners of the Young Norfolk Writing Competition. So what we're going to do is hopefully show you around that exhibition, and here we are. So I could go like full David Attenborough on this and introduce you to the atrium as we turn to our right and we move in. So on the floor there, you'll see some of the themes that we're playing with both tonight and also in the Young Norfolk Arts Virtual Festival generally. We have a short snap there of Tilda reading her poem, and we'll move our way around the room. This is the loudest that I've ever been in a museum or an art gallery. This is great. There's no one shushing me. Brilliant. Cool. I think we're seeing here like moments of touch, moments of connection, and recognizing how Alan Bennett always says that reading is at its most profound when you reach that point in a book, in a story, in a poem, when you find a thought that you thought peculiar to you, and here it is written down by somebody else, someone you've never met, maybe somebody long dead, and it's as if somebody is reaching out a hand. One of those pieces really spoke to that idea of like a hand reaching out, but also looking here at Ryan's piece and the idea of poetry being something that you can pocket, something you can hold on to. If you want to find out more about that exhibition, do visit the Young Norfolk Arts website. Okay, we are heading toward the twilight of our evening, both virtually and literally, as the sun begins to set. We are going to hear from a few more speakers. Next up is a poet called Shannon Clinton Copeland, who is originally from Kent, but Norfolk has sucked her in, and we shall keep her. She's currently on UEA's esteemed creative writing undergraduate course, and is taking the literary world by storm. She look out for her pamphlet Honey, which I'm sure will be coming soon. I'm so thrilled to be introducing the very wonderful Shannon Clinton Copeland.
Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying as safe as you can. My name is Shannon. I've just finished my first year at the University of East Anglia studying English literature with creative writing, and today I'm going to read you a poem from a collection that I'm working on called Honey, which is all about my grandmother, the London of my childhood, the Brixton of my childhood, and I'm going to be reading a poem called My London, so I hope you enjoy. My London is the Charing Cross Platform 1 approach. Bridge supports choked with graffiti, don't vote Tory, Baz Wazir, gang tags I don't recognise. My London is Great Ormond Street, nestled between flats that sell for 3 million and a beat down high street with a pollution problem. My London is Bloomsbury, parks and council appointed shrubbery, hairy bikers' latest release in the window of the Gower Street Waterstones. My London is sunburnt, sweating, Planet Organic, Birkbeck, a Stratford rooftop and betting shops in Streatham, Hyde Park in a hot front, punting on the Thames in sunshine. My London is quiet, the hot, cold, air-conditioned, anticipating hush before lights up in the West End, distended train carriages sending London leaping over half a mile of hot air between the train and the platform. My London is after hours, dark, the riverside of Southwark, taxis and blue lights and show nights and applause, paused radio between busker songs, flash mob sing-alongs, bus delays, what feels like days waiting for a seat somewhere decent to eat, giving up and going to McDonald's. My London is net curtained, coming back from H&M, bag laden, squeezing into the back room in Brixton where the light filters in behind the TV, where Grandad watches tennis, cricket, rugby, and I show off my wares to Honey, who asks me where the red is, whose coal from the kitchen is drowned out by an Airbus A320, retracing the overhead Heathrow flight path. Thank you.
This year has been an unforgettable experience. From reading my own work aloud to the best workshops you can imagine, the National Centre for Writing has really changed me for the better. The workshops and mentoring sessions have been unbelievably helpful and fun. I've learnt so many new skills that I can implement in my writing and have been given invaluable advice about the world of publishing that I would otherwise be unaware of. The National Centre for Writing has helped me with so many other things too, whether editing pieces of prose or poetry, reading aloud or mentoring on a much longer project that I've been working on for nearly 2 years now. I'd like to say a special thank you to Hannah Garrett and Victoria Maitland, both of whom have helped me on my path to becoming a better writer and laureate. I'd also like to thank Cara Marks for giving such fantastic workshops, many that I will never forget. From all of them, I have learnt so many things, from simply the format of the page to making my writing as good as it could possibly be. Looking back at writing from before my laureateship, I can see just how much I've improved, and that is perhaps the biggest gift of all. I'm now going to read my winning piece from last year. The candle was dimming and its scent was drifting through the small cracks in the window, outside into the cool atmosphere above all the tall mountains reaching their majestic peaks into the sky. Old Father Time stood contentedly in his room, one hand grasping a stack of yellowing paper, the other clutching onto a stumpy cigar. The smoke engulfed him and was indistinguishable from the pewter-grey mass that the candle emitted. "Mother Nature," he hollered, spluttering on the smoke. "Come here now."
Old Father Time twisted his sable black moustache frustratedly. Always late, never punctual, he thought, drumming his shoe on the floor impatiently. He continued to wait in a disgruntled manner, but it did not take long for Old Father Time's vexation to boil over. "Hurry up, will you, bumbling fool," he bellowed. Just when he thought such matters could not worsen, his umber eyes were drawn to the window, which looked out upon his timid wife, Mother Nature, beneath the rowan tree. "My husband shan't find us here, after all." A patch of mud caught her attention, and she forgot all about the brick-red cluster of rowan berries she was grasping. Animal tracks! She could scarcely breathe in such intense excitement, and promptly dropped her wicker basket containing a few crystals, and crawled along the ground, a strong, earthy smell pervading her nostrils. The tracks were that of a finch, easily distinguished by the single hind toe and the sheer slimness of it. They carried on into a juniper-green mulberry bush, but Mother Nature was too tender-hearted to disturb the little creature. She smiled blissfully to herself, then added a mountain ash leaf to her basket and trotted off, not knowing of the argument that awaited her. "And I won't even dare to ask why you were talking to hollyberries. Well, they were rowan berries, but, oh, and yes, my husband shan't find us here. The sheer cheek of it!" Mother Nature sighed and tucked a grey wisp of hair behind her ear. "I'll clean the typewriter," he squeaked agitatedly. Petulance did a jig in his eyes. "Do it properly for once." And with that, Old Father Time downed the last of his whiskey, and his wife scurried off nervously through the lonely corridors and into the basement. The typewriter that Old Father Time had mentioned was none other than the Reges 99, the first and only model. It had keys made of tufts of wayward cloud, and they hovered peacefully in their place. The platen was made from jet, but was worn from frequent use and had begun to sport scratch marks. She hurriedly began polishing the carriage, making sure that it shone brighter than light itself. It was midnight by the time Mother Nature had finished cleaning this Reges 99, and it was at such a time that an idea popped into her weary mind. Her silver eyes darted towards the colour-changing lever on the typewriter. You see, the Reges 99 was no ordinary typewriter, for it controlled the happenings of our world, and it was up to Old Father Time to provide events for his precious humans. However, he had recently fallen out with them, and, when walking by her husband's desk, Mother Nature had caught a glimpse of his mischief. Chaos had reigned over Earth, pollution, coronavirus, and so many other unthinkable occurrences. She peered about her through the gloom, making sure that her husband was nowhere to be seen, then swiftly changed the colour of ink from a deep red to a majestic gold. Gold was the forbidden colour, and above it Old Father Time had scribbled, "Only to be used in the case of an emergency." "Well, now is an emergency," she whispered, and began to type. Mother Nature smiled to herself. The gold meant something that the world lacked: hope.
So there you heard from the 2019 Young Norfolk Laureate, Colette Maxwell Preston. And before that, you heard from Shannon Clinton Copeland, who I think we can all agree has won the award for Best Hair of the evening. I like that Shannon has lent into really embracing her talents at dyeing her hair during lockdown, and I have just decided to shear it all off. Okay, so you heard from Colette Maxwell Preston and her beautiful story encapsulating Father Time and all his strangeness. So the Young Norfolk Laureate programme is an opportunity for any poet aged between, or writer aged between 11 to 18, and they receive mentoring, writing and performance opportunities with the National Centre for Writing and the Young Norfolk Arts Trust over the course of a year. So Colette has just finished her laureateship, and we'd like to thank her for all her energy, her enthusiasm, her commitment to that role. And now also both the National Centre for Writing and the Young Norfolk Arts Trust would like to thank everyone who put themselves forward for the 2020 laureate, which we have now realised is going to be an almost more challenging role. We had 10 applications from young people from the winning and highly commended list of the competition, and they all showed that they could adequately fulfil the role. So it was a really difficult choice. The decision that's been made this year is to embrace that idea of plurality, of a multiplicity of voices. And so the National Centre for Writing and the Young Norfolk Arts Trust has selected not one, but 3 laureates. So 3 poets who will take part in this programme, who will work as a collective to receive mentoring, to work towards original collaboration that might be performed next year. These poets are Matilda Arminger, aged 18 from Paston College, Casey Challenger, 18 from Durham Netherd sixth form, and Ryan Taff-Fowl, who's also 18 from Wyndham College. Congratulations on behalf of the Young Norfolk Arts Trust, on behalf of the National Centre for Writing, but also congratulations from me. We are now almost at the end of the evening. So I'm going to reiterate a lot of the thank yous that Hannah Garrard threw out in the first half. So thank you so much to the Young Norfolk Arts Trust, the National Centre for Writing, and to all our funders, especially the Norwich Council and the Arts Council England. Without you, this couldn't happen. So thank you so much. In particular, thank you to Lucy Farrant, thank you to Millie Kirby, thank you to Hannah Goward and Victoria Maitland. They are the administrators behind people in silly jackets like me on Zoom calls. They are the people who make this happen. So big shout out to them. Also, thank you so much to Nathan, who has been behind all of the tech stuff tonight. He is the reason this has all gone so beautifully smoothly. So thank you so much to you. Finally, and obviously most importantly, thank you so much to the wonderful performers, the writers, the young people who have all contributed stuff to us tonight. I've really felt a sense of connection. I felt like, even though I can't see you, even though we're not all in the same room talking and sharing our love of literature, we are together in a different sort of space. I'd really encourage you, if you want to sort of like recapture that feeling, check out all the things that Young Norfolk Arts are doing as part of their virtual festival this year. It's going on till Sunday. There are workshops, there are other performances, and it's just the ideal way for young people to continue to feel connected through the coronavirus crisis. I'm going to leave you with 2 thoughts. Firstly, a thought from the American poet Ada Limon, who asks, what is it about words that make the world fit easier? And then she answers, it's air and time. Every single one of these poems has had so much breath, so much air, so much time and consideration taken over it. So I want to thank you all for that. I'm going to leave you in the very capable hands of Poppy Stevens, who has written a poem especially for young people during the coronavirus crisis. She was commissioned to write this by the Young Norfolk Arts Trust. Thank you so much to Poppy. And you'll also hear an outro from the very wonderful director of the Young Norfolk Arts, Lucy Farrant. But from me, Lewis Buxton, thank you so much. It's been an absolute dream. And give yourselves and the poets a huge round of applause. This has been the Young Norfolk Writing Competition Showcase. And now I leave you with Poppy Stevens' The Wish.
I've often heard people say they wish to be a bird, to have eyes like a searchlight captaining the night, soar up high, pillow fight clouds, hover where space meets sky, greet stars, sing loud, weave through trees, making invisible patterns in a forest tapestry. Wingtip brushes painted inside the lines draw a masterpiece in the landscapes behind. Dancing in formation, migration with no visa, no forward planning, just following the summer. But I don't think they've thought it through. If, by the swish of a wand, you were a duck in a pond, or an owl in a tree, or a gull bobbing on the sea, Yes, I would like to travel to every country, to go wherever it is sunny, but I have a fear of heights. Even on aeroplane flights I get scared, and they are well prepared with engine and fuel. Imagine having nothing at all, only wings flapping. I get out of breath just running down the road, let alone flying across countries. And what if it snowed? Sleeping in a nest of sticks and leaves, no cushions or blankets. Oh, surely I would freeze. And I would miss my friends loads, only seeing them through kitchen windows. To never talk, only sing and hope they understand squawk. Seeing in the dark would be nice, but I don't fancy eating mice. No, I don't think I would wish to be a bird. The reality is far too absurd. I've searched my mind, trying to find what my one wish would be. Others wish to be wealthy, to be beautiful, strong, healthy, to be powerful, teleport through time, be forever youthful. They unwrapped their wishes so quickly I couldn't understand why I found it so tricky. Then I realised. I popped it in my pocket, thought it wise to save it, because all I need can be found right here on the ground.
Hi, I'm Lucy. I'm Director of Young Norfolk Arts, and I think it's no secret that this is one of my very favourite parts of any Young Norfolk Arts Festival. And I'm extremely pleased that we have been able to continue with this competition and this event, and for you to be able to see the immense talent of the young writers that we have in the county. This is one of those events where so much work goes on behind the scenes. The competition is a beast to organise, and this event would not be possible without the tremendous creativity, organisational skills and serenity of my wonderful colleagues at the National Centre for Writing, Hannah and Vicky, and very much behind the scenes, Keith, who wrangles all the entries and makes them digestible for our competition judges. So a big thank you to them, and also a very big thank you to the National Centre for Writing and to the County Council for supporting this competition as a whole. Another key part of the equation are of course our brilliant partners and funders. Apologies if I forget to mention anyone, but it's important to give a big thank you to the Arts Council, to Norfolk County Council and to the City Council. This event has been really fun to plan, and we've really enjoyed working with Lewis to ensure that we could bring into it as many live interactions as we possibly could. So also I'd like to say a very big thank you to him, because he's prepared and worked hard to make this something very special. And that's all fine and dandy, but the most important people are of course all of the competition entrants and our 7 worthy winners, our 21 shortlisted entrants, and the nearly 400 young people who sent in their writing this year. So a huge thank you to them. As you will have seen, the quality of their work is astounding, and the future of writing in Norfolk is definitely in safe hands. Thank you, everyone.